Which brings me to an interesting part I want to share with you, right? I think I had this conversation with a friend of mine during MCO. Because he posted, you know Kusu Chang?
Yes,
BFM?
I've heard of him. I don't know him, but I listened to him, yeah.
So he posted on Facebook saying like, hey, does anyone know does anyone have any children in, I don't know what Chinese school, Kwan Cheng or whatever? Because then I asked him why. Because he wants to get his children into Chinese schools when they go into secondary school, I think. So I said, hey man, I thought you would be the kind of guy who would send your children to private or international schools. And then he goes, pretend like I got no money or whatever. But then he said that, I have lost faith in Western education. Right?
I hear him. Yeah.
Because what he sees is just rubbish coming out from people who are Anglo or Western educated. Like I want to send my children to study in the University of Beijing, Tokyo University, Taiwan University, even the unis in Singapore are all ranked top 10, top 5.
Yeah.
You say that, and then they're going thinking, you know what, that's a really good point.
I agree.
Our generation is Harvard, Cambridge,
US,
UK, white people, but you think about it, there is some truth to the argument that just because you are Western educated doesn't mean you are better than those who went to NUS, the best universities in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, and I would argue that because there are so few of these universities, it's harder to get in.
No, and when you talk about education, and then I've seen some of these articles and videos about schools, I'm talking like primary schools in Japan, where the kids clean the school and keep the school clean. They don't have cleaner, and I'm like, great. Dude, that's fantastic. That's the real skills that kids need to learn, right? Like, be responsible.
I live near a Japanese school.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's a school just for Japanese.
Okay.
Man, I tell you, if they open a school with Japanese education values and staffed by actual Japanese, I would send my child there.
Yeah, I think there's for me I've had this conversation. And I think it's a very passionate conversation when you talk to friends, especially friends with kids, right?
Okay.
This idea of, I studied in government school growing up, right?
Same.
Right? And so did
Which
my
school?
wife. I studied in Kelana Jaya.
Oh,
Seaport. Secondary was Seaport.
That's where I live. So, but I live in Kelana Jaya.
Okay.
But for some reason, my mom sent me to Bukit Bintang Boys School.
Oh, okay. My mom.
Kampung Tunku, and then Bukit Bintang Boys
I stayed in Kampung Tunku as well. My mom actually. On my school form from primary to secondary, she wrote Bukit Bintang or LaSalle. Without her knowledge, I blancoed it and I put Seaport because all my friends were going to Seaport.
Yeah, the gangster school.
Why do people say that? Why do people? It's actually Seaport. See, I'm starting this now. Seaport is the gangster school.
Oh, not Seaport.
Actually,
no, LaSalle is a gangster school. We should all of us agree that LaSalle is shit.
I don't know anybody who said it when there, so I'm fine. But in the sense that now when I talk to my friends who went to these government schools, nobody wants to send their kids to government school.
Same. No, neither do I. I just can't.
And it's not a factor of race.
No,
my Malay friends, my Chinese friends, my Indian friends, all just don't have a preference for government school.
I have the odd friend who sends his or her child to government school. But it's
Bestari kind of.
No, it's the good schools,
okay.
Like
the smart school
DJ. Hey, let me just check. I'm not hearing anything on my.
Oh, you need to max it up. Okay, can you hear that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, the odd TTDI or SMDJ, but other than that, it's Chinese school or private school.
Yeah, I find that very interesting thing. Me and my wife, we have kind of scouted the schools nearby.
How old is your son?
My son is just 2. Right now, 2.
2, okay.
But there's a few good schools nearby here. And I think Sri Petaling or something that's here. I think one of it is a good sports school or something. So, I don't know, man. I would want to give government a shot.
Chinese school? What about Chinese school?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I feel...
I don't come from Chinese school, but
okay,
I'm thinking.
My from an education point of view and from an infrastructure point of view, fantastic.
Okay.
I used to run a restaurant before, so I've like done catering events in Chinese schools because they rent out their hall to make money and all that, right? So it feels like a private school. Even the government schools feel very well funded, private school. But my concern, especially the one that I share, I don't share this with my wife because she prefers my kid to go to Chinese school. She prefers, right?
Okay.
So my problem is that I would want my kid to mix with, growing up government school, I had friends of all races.
That is the best thing about government school. Especially government school in Klang Valley.
I mean, we were all English-speaking buggers and all that. But then you could still speak Malay.
Yep.
And you went to your friend's house. So you felt like, hey, we're together, right?
Yep. That is the best thing about government school for me.
Yeah. So my worry for private as well as Chinese school is that it might be a very different demographic. Yeah, and I have friends, I had cousins who went to like international school, right? And suddenly their bubble becomes very exclusive. Their life problems are very different, you know. And I don't have the answer for it, but I think I really would prefer for him to kind of be in a government setting, or at least we will try it and see if it works. Actually, one of my neighbors here, he's the editor for Digital News Asia, Karamjit. So he's actually lives around here. So he is interesting because he has two sons. Both were going to private school, and it was getting too expensive, right? So they decided one have to switch to government, right? Because the older one, just 1 year left or something, so it doesn't make sense for him to switch at the last point. So the older boy finishes it off in private, and the younger boy switched to a government school nearby, right? And so I asked him, great, now you have a beautiful control and test. What do you think, government or private, right? And he tells me, government. He can't tell the difference because he's saying that as long as he kind of gets some input and educates them at home in terms of control at home, right?
What government school did the son go to?
It's the one nearby here. I think it's Street Tanning or one of the some other. I'm not sure. Yeah, so he's saying that he has no issue. If he could do it again, he'll probably do it. Send both to government, right?
Okay.
But again, I've also heard horror stories, because a school is only as good as the headmaster, So if the headmaster decides to go on a rampage, and we have heard the horror stories of how they prioritize certain things and all that, and then you realize that
the race quota, of course.
No, you see, when I studied in school, which I'm assuming we are around the same age.
Yeah, 35.
Yeah, but 35, 36, right? So there was quotas, right? Like, I remember when I studied also, I remember thinking, I don't have to be the smartest guy in the class. I have to be the smartest top 3 Indians. Then I will get in the first class, right? And these freaking Indians are like way smarter than me.
Oh,
my one of my best friends in school was like a Malay dude. We'll sit next to each other, but we cannot compare. I was like, dude, I don't know that I'll make it to the for the first class next year because this bloody Indian buggers are there. So, I kind of grew up on that, and personally, it feels fucked up, right? It feels as an individual, it feels fucked up. But from a macro, looking at it, trying to be more objective, I understand why it was done. Whether the system has been bastardized and abused, I'm sure it has, right?
Yes.
But it had novel intentions at the start, to kind of get a good mix, but I don't know, man. But now you see in private, it's the total opposite, right? Suddenly it's a little bit of I wouldn't say elite, but it's a very skewed demographic.